we've got some exciting stuff that's happening today. Hey guys, and welcome back to the WTFarm Girl channel. We are continuing work on my off-grid cabin office, shed to house, tiny house build. All of that in one sentence. So we have some exciting stuff happening today. We have a couple issues that happened with our table saw, but I'll give you a hint. It all ends amazing at the very end of this video. So definitely stay tuned to the whole thing because, oh, so beautiful. I love it. Not very often I have round bale, so I figured I'd come in, just take a quick little power nap on him while I can. The cat's got the same idea. It's just, I don't know, something about laying in hay is just so cozy. All right, I went through and I pulled all the staples out and I taped the plastic, the packing tape up to the top. We are going to have lots of fun sanding down the edges of these boards. And Eric got to thinking that it was probably caused from the spray foam and the drying of the cabin, because I went through first thing and put all those boards up. And because the cabin wood was green, it's been slowly shrinking. And Eric's thinking it's pushing him back this way. And, and then you also have the spray foam, which, can do the same thing too. Luckily, I caught it before I taped all the plastic. Yeah. So we have a belt sander. I bet you can guess how this is gonna go. All right. Okay, I snuck it out of the house without Eric seeing me. So this is an oscillating tool. I've never used this before. I'm kind of excited. So I found the blade in his tool chest and I said, that looks like something that might possibly work. You see, I tried a sander, I tried a hacksaw, I tried a handsaw, I even tried the cutoff wheel, and I tried a circular saw. The circular saw was a bad idea. But this is really what I had been looking for. So we're gonna try this out and see if it will help kick these boards back just a hair bit. And this one actually looks pretty good. But Eric actually did have a thought. And his thought was that because these are rough sawn 2x4s, there's a good possibility that it's not the middle part that's the problem, but the upper part. So he's saying that that part might be dipped in just a little bit, which would cause the boards to not attach. That's a possibility too. But I know some of these definitely need to come down. I'm pretty sure some of these need to come down. So we're gonna shave them down, I hope. All right, so I did that first one off camera just so I could get a good feel for it. So I found out it works kind of better as a shaver than an actual cutter. I'm sure Eric's gonna be running down the hallway to yell at me any minute after watching this. So this one you can see it's hitting right here in the center actually. The end is clear, the end here is clear, but it's right here in the center. Ow! That's where it's catching. I don't know if you can see, but that's my dog laying right in front of the barn door, sleeping. Yeah. Oh, she sees me. I don't know why she's sleeping right there. Of all the places to sleep, it's freezing cold out, but it's sunny. I guess she just wanted to sleep in the sun. What you doing, Squigglebutt? Why are you sleeping over there? Here's her other little nest. Look at the nest you made it. What's that? Is that your nest? Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, so this is her new favorite sleeping spot. Oh, it's a nut job. You did a little nut job. Woo! Oh my gosh. It's yeah, it's a lot like having many kids. Oh boy. Yep, never dull around here, that's for sure. So I love Jelly Belly jelly beans, and I saw these at Tractor Supply when I was checking out, and I was like, ooh, gourmet jelly beans, yum. I'll bring these home and try them. Worst mistake ever. The taste like cough syrup. Every single one of them. I am so disappointed. You have no idea, but I'm still gonna eat them just because I'm stubborn and I'm just wishing they were Jelly Bellies. I think I lost one in my shirt somewhere. Phew, Whew, all done except for one window, which I forgot to cut out. So everything else has been cut out. One thing that I found for cutting out around the terminals, and I'm not saying this is the right way or anything, but this is what I found works for me, is if you actually cut, you cut just slightly in. So like I cut it like 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch in from the outside edge all the way around. And then what you do is you just kind of push it. If you cut the cutout smaller than your receptacle, then it's gonna really tighten around this real solidly. There's another example right here. And then you don't have like a huge gapping hole. Oh, and then I still have to do that peak and then the other peak up above. The wind just makes you roll. Oh my gosh, the wind's attacking you. It's gonna get you. It's gonna get you. Oh my goodness. Is the wind too much? Is that too much? Ah, you are dirty. Look at you. You are covered in filth. You're a little dirty pup. How do you put a dado blade on a portable table saw? And more importantly, where do you get a dado blade insert for your table saw? If you're stuck in the tricky situation of having a portable table saw and you can't get a dado blade to fit, well, hopefully I can help you out today. Let's go. Now, a lot of you guys are already saying you should not buy a contractor grade or portable table saw to do dado cuts. And you might be right. But with this particular table saw, it actually recommended that you could use it for dado cutting. And it specified which dado blade to use and which dado insert to use in the manual. However, they don't actually make that. Either they stopped making it or they just never got around to manufacturing it. You can put a dado blade on this table saw, but you cannot get an insert for it. Even the ones that are suggested online as working don't work. You can see there's an obvious 1-inch gap at the very top. So we are actually going to make a dado insert for this table saw. Alright, well, I plan to shoot you a nice solid video on just how to make a dado insert for a portable table saw. But unfortunately, I walked off to get something. When I came back, well, Eric saw I was working out here and decided to jump in and do it for me. So, this is what we have right now. So this is the chunk of wood that Eric cut out. So this will fit right in here, like so. At least it's supposed to. Come in. Might need a little adjust. Oh, how am I gonna get that out if I get that in there? All right, so we removed our main table saw blade that came with the saw. It's worth noting on this particular table saw that it actually did not come with wrenches. Yeah, Yeah, you need the wrenches to be able to remove the blades, and it didn't come with any of them. It was supposed to, but it didn't. And so for this particular table saw, the knot on the end is 3/4 of an inch. I did end up having to use Eric's trick to get it out. Now in the directions, it said to put one wrench on here because it has 2 flat sides. So you stick it in there, and then the other wrench goes on the nut that was on here. And the one on this side you pull towards yourself, and the one on your left side you push away from yourself. And then it loosens up the nut, and then you pull it off. Unfortunately, I couldn't even get a wrench back there because it was way too tight. So what I did was I used a chunk of wood and I put it right in front of the blade. And so as I pulled this toward me, obviously the saw couldn't turn because it was hitting this wood, and it loosened it. So this table saw actually is made for a dado blade. There's a whole series on installing and using the dado blade on this saw. And again, they recommend to buy the insert, which you can't buy. So it tells you all about setting up the dado blade, what you can do with it, what you can't do with it. All right, so this is the dado blade set that I bought. This was actually one of the cheapest ones on Amazon, and it actually came highly rated. Like I said, this particular table saw actually suggests a 6-inch. And unfortunately, I didn't read that part in the manual when I bought this. Yeah, I assumed it needed a 10-inch, and you can't even find 10-inch dados. So I did a little reading online, and a lot of people were using the 8-inch. So that's what I bought. Now this is carbide tipped, and this is rated for 5,000 RPMs. You want to check your RPMs and make sure the ratings are the same. You can see they're very in-depth on the instructions. I actually don't know how big of a cut I want to make. Maybe 1/2 inch. Okay, so for 1/2 inch, we need 2 1/8 inch of these, one of these, and no shims. Okay, so these have to go on. These go between your chipper blades and your main blades. Okay. All right, finally time for the moment of truth. All right, you can never be too safe. We're not going to use the Dado blade at this height. We're actually going to lower it much slower. I did have the feather board here, just kind of securing this end. In the tutorials I saw online, they only had one end secured, and it was this end. I wasn't quite sure what to expect from this, so I wanted a little bit more security. I didn't notice this plate shift one bit. All right, so Eric went through and set up our rail system. So we have a sacrifice board.
The reason this board's on there so you're not cutting into your fence.
All right.
That looks really nice.
All right, so I'm definitely giving Eric full credit for this idea because the whole Dado thing was his idea, and I've said it from the very beginning. I'll credit anyone with a great idea. So, this is what it looks like. So we dadoed both edges here, and you can see how nice and tight that's actually fitting. So this is actually, you can nickel gap it, which means you just put like a slight gap in there if you want to, which I probably will do a slight gap, because that way if the wood swells or shrinks, it's got a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, and if it's not perfectly straight too, you can use that little gap, you know, to
make up for the
any
difference.
Imperfections.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice to be able to see.
I like having the gap actually, the little nickel gap.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how much of a gap we're gonna do. But
Are you gonna actually use a nickel to space it?
I don't know.
So when we watched the video, when you're cutting these, they said to go just a little bit past halfway so your boards will sit flush. Otherwise, if it's not deep enough, then they won't sit flush.
Yeah, that was perfect for the first time through setting it up. I really thought it would take us a couple times, and that's kind of a nice option of having so many wood scraps of these boards.
You could even, I mean, that's like perfect. If you.
That is perfection. I mean, that's crazy perfection right there. And you know, I did a 1/2 inch for the Dado.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
You could go a tiny bit deeper if you want, but that looks pretty good like that.
Yeah. And so just so you can see the cut on this,
looks really good.
It's very clean. It is crazy clean. Yeah. And you can see this was actually just a regular non-freshly cut edge. Both of these are non-freshly cut edges because they're scraps. So these were never actually run through our first trim cycle. I am still going to keep an eye on the blades to make sure that they're not shifting at all. Of course, it's kind of hard when they're down so far. But one thing in the Dado setup directions, it said make sure the carbide tips do not touch each other. So on the different blades, you really want to make sure they're staggered in the gullies or gussets of each one. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and it's so exciting seeing this little tiny cut. I know it's nothing much, but it really has me excited because it just came out so perfect the first time. I'm just like mind blown. So stay tuned for the next videos. We're going to be ripping up more boards, and we're going to be sanding them, then putting them up. So we've got a couple things coming up. This is where it gets really fun. If you didn't see my post on my channel, go back and check that out under posts or community, where I ask what colors I should use for my epoxy. That's another fun thing that I'm really looking forward to next video. So you definitely want to stay tuned because we've got so many interesting little things coming up. Ooh, falling over. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up. And hey, we got tractors coming up too. Love you guys. Take care. Bye.